Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's Monday. Beautiful near fall day. It's getting cooler in the USA, all across the fruited plains to the mountains and the deserts and everything. So it's a nice day. It's sunny here in North Carolina. We'll be talking about Charlotte, North Carolina here in a few minutes. Some bad things happen there. It's another Democrat-controlled hellhole. I guess I'll be polite. Anyway, I hope you all had a good weekend. I know we did. I still want you all to consider joining us on Sunday nights. We had our first ever Sunday night debrief last night, and Chris Cordani was there to help out. And Chris, I don't think we debriefed anybody, right? We didn't take the briefs off of anybody, right? It was all virtual.
No, but Jeffrey Toobin wants to guest star on this with you because
he does
wear briefs anyway.
You know, I got a call from our network leadership. As you guys know, I work for Newsmax, and one of the executives actually said, "Tony, we really appreciate you always having your pants on."
Well, you're always ready for them.
Okay, I think that's a good sign, So okay, I'm Mr. Handy Pants, right? Is
right? Yeah. I want to say that this Sentinel Circle and the debrief are the debriefers for your ex-subscribers. Now, this is something. This is something that people can actually have access to you and directly ask questions to you. It's a new thing. It's just started. So as we pulled up. Yeah.
And there's issues. We're working them out. I know someone who did pay and did get in, couldn't quite get into the chat. So I think we're trying to make this so that people feel that it's of value, which we're now looking at how to connect you to me and me to you. Right, Chris? We're going to do even a more direct connection. No, not like the dating game connection, but, closer, a closer connection, right? And not scratch and sniff either. That's too close, right? No, none of that. So just saying.
Sounds good. All right.
But speaking of scratch and sniff, I love the smell of deportation in the morning. Where did you hear that from? That's Donald J. Trump and his posting on Chicopolis Now. Man, oh man, did you? I have never seen. Well, that's not true. There's a cartoon he tweeted out that shows him. Chris, maybe we can bring it up. It's on my X feed because we're going to talk about Chicago. So I think it was Saturday, 2 days ago, tweeted out a cartoon. This is a cartoon. It's not even a real picture, probably AI generated of Donald J. Trump in the Colonel Kilgore outfit, the cavalry outfit from Apocalypse Now. And as you know, we used a lot of symbology for my book, Operation Darkheart. Y'all seen it, Let me get it out here. You've seen my book. We used the basic art. Rena, shout out to Rena. Rena did the cover art, and it's Apocalypse Now. So Donald J. Trump did that, Chris. I don't know if you found it yet, but there's a picture of him basically saying, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." And man, oh man, has this set off a firestorm on the left. I mean, every account over the weekend was all in flames. It's like, man, what a master troller. There's a psychological term. Let me tell you about it. During the Cold War, Chris, we figured out, and this is no secret. It's basic psychology that I don't know. Have you ever heard of something called reflexive control? You ever heard of that? Have the Patriots heard of that?
Something that the Democrats don't have.
So anyway, for the Patriots to understand, reflexive control is basically when a doctor hits you in the knee, when you get that, it's a reflex. Your body automatically responds to certain inputs. Well, man, oh man, this was a reflexive control on the left because they reacted badly and without regard to how stupid they look responding to a cartoon. But there it is. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. oh man, oh man. So that smell, that I don't know what kind of smell I want to add because I'll get in trouble no matter what I say. So I'll just leave it at that. He loves the smell of deportations in the morning, and you know, if those who watched the movie, if you haven't seen Apocalypse Now, you better go watch it because it's one of the greatest movies ever made. Shout out to Francis Ford Coppola who did it, and to the point is you've got Colonel Kilgore there, Donald Trump, supervising the helicopters coming into Chicago. So, Chris, do you think this was a positive move by the Trump administration to send a message to Brandon Johnson?
I got to tell you, it's Brandon Johnson will never get the message. Let's be fair about this. He'll never get the message, and he probably never saw the movie.
Yeah.
He prefers movie like he prefers the movie like Lenin's Ascension, or if you will. That's his favorite movie.
Maybe he watched a Spike Lee joint.
Yeah, Crooklyn.
Crooklyn, yeah.
A Spike Lee
joint. Probably. So, but speaking of Crooklyn, 5 people died over the weekend in Chicago. I think that's a mass shooting number, right? Last time I checked, anything more than 3 is a mass shooting. So they had a mass shooting plus something like 20-some people shot. I think I know we don't have that kind of shooting here. We have problems in North Carolina, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But we don't have 5 people die in major cities with 20 being shot. So I don't know. It seems to me that the continued mass shootings, and by the way, for the Patriots, and you know this, Chris, this happens every weekend. This has been going on for at least the past 15 years. So a mass shooting per weekend, and yet somehow we're the bad guys for pointing out that Black lives don't matter in Chicago, right? It's like,
well, let's put it this way: Black lives don't really matter unless they can get coverage, unless there are votes that happen to like that can be gotten, if you will. The fact is that Black lives never really mattered to the Democrats unless it was politically expedient. And the Black lives that do matter are the ones named George Floyd, or the ones who are criminals. And the idea is they never cared. They just want to make it look like they're virtue signalers. Virtue signaling does not require any sort of commitment. It doesn't require any sacrifice, and it doesn't require any real bravery. It just shows people, hey, look at me, I'm aware. And you horrible white people, blah blah blah. They don't care. Heck, they don't care about anybody else's lives but their own. To be honest with you.
And I think that's the issue we're facing. I'm just getting into the chat here to talk to folks.
Right.
So anyway,
same here. That's what I was doing. I was trying to get some pictures up.
Yeah, I'll talk in a second. But so we see this apocalypse or Chicapolypse Now post by President Trump, and yet we're just think about how wackadoodle. I love that word, by the way. You see me use it often. How wackadoodle it is for the fact that the Democrat Party are more freaking out about a cartoon posted by the president than the fact that 5 people died and 20 were shot. Am I missing something here?
See, here's
it's a cartoon, for God's sake. And people, otherwise, those were people who died, right? I mean,
look, they want the war zone. Let's just put it this way. The Democrats, the far left, the people who run these blue cities, the National Party, they want the war zone. That's it. They want it because it keeps people at their knees and say, well, look, the mean Republicans are going to take away your social services. So put up with the gangs and rapes and murders for now until we pretend to address it next election. And that's the truth. That's how they campaign. They don't want to shut that. And you ever notice that Democrats, when they say, when somebody like I don't know, somebody like you, Tony, or somebody like Donald Trump says, hey, we need to crack down on crime in inner cities, immediately Democrats say that's racist. So implying that blacks and Hispanics and all minorities are the ones committing crimes, and it's racist to go after them.
Yeah, I just think the messaging is insane.
You ever notice that?
They do that.
I do.
So, yeah. I love Andy Rooney. Why do they call it soup anyway? It's not really liquid. It's kind of like a meal, but it's not a meal. Why is that?
Wait, soup's a meal. No, soup's a meal. That's the truth. I learned that on Seinfeld. Soup is a meal. Even if the suit's involved. Which, by the way, the Armani suit episode of Seinfeld, very famous. Well, Giorgio Armani passed on last week.
I saw that, and I love Armani stuff. By the way, I some of you know from my history, I worked Miami literally in the late '80s, and I had to dress like Don Johnson. It was great. I went through. By the way, I should tell the folks a story. Not here. We'll talk about it. We'll do it on the X thing. But I went through spy school in 1988. And did you know that I got yelled at for not wearing socks, Chris?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you got stock for being stockless, if you will.
So it was a change of era. I don't want to get into a lot of details and ruin it, but we'll tell the story over on X sometime. How in spy school, one of the senior instructor, who I later became friends with, but at the time he was pretty upset that I was running around wearing linen and no socks.
Right.
It was a different time. Anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. But let's get back to Chicago. I see Brandon Johnson and Governor Black Hole Pritzker, the guy who could swallow whole Sheboygan, Idaho, or Sheboygan? Is it Sheboygan, Idaho? I guess it's Sheboygan. Anyway, he could eat the whole place in one sitting. Eclair, Idaho. He lives in his own private Idaho. Just saying. I mean, he is as big as Idaho, and it's just as smelly. No, that's not. That didn't come out right. Idaho's not smelly yet. I don't think. I guess there's smelly hippies there. There he is. There's JB.
Yes, that's JB Pritzker. This is before the buffet. After the buffet, it's a little before.
That's right. So I think there's a new law that says he has free reign on Sundays of all you can eat buffets in the state of Illinois. I think he could just kind of go and wander. It's like a cow meandering across the plain. So anyway, maybe it's more like an elephant, but I digress. But he's upset too. He's out in the media complaining that the idea of bringing law and order to Chicago is, dictators do that. Did you know that? Dictators. Donald Trump's a dictator because he's trying to bring law and order. Ooh.
It's almost like they love crime. It's almost, well, look, Democrats have a pretty much a criminal constituency, if you think about it. A lot of their voters are either in jail, they have served time in jail, or are on their way to jail one way or another. Letitia James, are you hearing me?
Yeah,
that's the whole thing right there. Look, you think it's bad in Chicago? You just see what happened in Charlotte. And I don't mean to push this on you. Really,
no, we should do this because this is my state, and this is horrible. This is as bad as it gets.
Well, how about
you got to run the tape? Or you want to talk about it first?
Let's just put this image out there for you right now. So in 2026, Republicans should show this image as to what the Democrats' America really looks like. And there are a lot of backstories to this, and I want to give you a few of them when we talk. But look at this. This thug, this monster, who of course is a savage minority. I'm sorry, and the reason why I put that not all minorities are savages, but he was being a savage. Sneaks up behind somebody who's unsuspecting, not paying attention, and stabs a defenseless woman in the back, probably because she's white, and just sitting where
she's Ukrainian. She's a refugee.
Well, that's
came here. She came here to escape a war zone and ends up dead. Think about that.
That's right. She was only 23. She came here to escape a war zone. And she died. Here in America, the place that she thought was going to be a lot safer. There you go. Here's a story from Zero Hedge. Another good picture of him. Talk about the. And did you get anything from the New York Times? Did you get anything from anywhere else? Did you get anything from let's see, ABC, CBS, CNN? No. Barely anything, if at all. But man, the Daniel Penny incident was. That's another. And these major media organizations are going to tell you it's a local story. We don't have to cover local stories. Well, wasn't Zimmerman and Floyd really local stories? Weren't they local stories?
Oh, they're all local stories until the Democrats want to amplify it and make it into propaganda. So, yeah, this beautiful young girl, take a look right there. This is in my state of North Carolina, in one of the blue enclaves, the People's Republic of Charlotte, North Carolina. Right, Chris? It's right. They're just, let's just call it for what it is. They're all communists.
Yeah, it's another one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So in a communist society, you have those who are held to a standard, us, and then those who they basically consider essentially less than human, which is the guy that stabbed her. This guy was in his 30s. He was homeless, and quote unquote, the system failed him. Really? Right. I mean, what? We, the citizens of North Carolina, see Charlotte, North Carolina, sucking up billions in taxpayer dollars for social services. So, excuse me, how is it exactly this guy was quote unquote failed by the system? The system is designed to allow people like this guy to exist and conduct crimes. It's what the Democrats get their power from. I'm going to be doing a talk next Saturday on the 13th about this very issue. I'm talking to the Republican, the Republican women's of our part of the state next month. It's on my Facebook if you want to go check it out. And I'm going to talk about the fact that the Democrats have no interest in providing a path forward for people to get better. They love having people like this black guy who essentially became homeless, was a repeat offender, and actually he was a ticking time bomb, Chris. This was just a matter of time before it went off. And because you have a lack of interest in accountability or solutions, this beautiful young girl, Ukrainian refugee who left a freaking war zone thinking she'd be safe, died in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, there are worse things than this, even worse than this whole idea that the system supposedly failed this guy, and all these excuses being made, and the media not covering it. And again, I use the term savage with this guy, and I explained that the reason why I said this person, and I made sure it was mentioned, this person was a minority, because even though it's obvious in the picture, is because that, I believe, is the reason why this is not being covered. And you heard from the Charlotte mayor, this evil bag here, who says, I want to thank our media partners and community members who chose not to publish or share this footage. I've been thinking a lot about what safety in our city really looks like. I remain committed to doing everything I can to protect our residents and make Charlotte a place where everyone feels safe. This sounds like something out of Kathy Hochul's playbook. Oh, don't worry.
They're the same party.
Ride on mass transit. It's safe. Stabbings. Yeah, okay.
They're the same party. Now, so, let's be honest here. This is a Democrat city. You know, they always talk about red states that have, you have more crime in red states. Right here, this is it. You have red states with blue cities. Charlotte is a blue woke city. I'd say this is one of the three most woke places in North Carolina. Charlotte, Chapel Hill, and I think the area around Duke University. Where is that? Anyway, it's the research. Oh, Raleigh's up there too. So this is what comes. Great. We're doing our best. We are doing our best. Oh, it's those darn criminals. They just outsmart us every time. Oh, this is by design. This is not accidental. She is putting out the party line, the mayor of Charlotte, because they want this. The only reason this continues is because they want it. This could have been resolved. It should have been resolved, but it's not. This perpetuates their ability to maintain control. Same thing with homelessness in California. Chris, who spends $22 billion and has more homeless after you spent $22 billion trying to stop homelessness? It's by design.
Dare I guess?
It's by design.
Yeah, no, it is by design. This is the Democrats need the downtrodden, and they need to create more downtrodden to produce votes. And that's how they do it. They make sure people live in poverty. They make sure people live in crime. They make sure there's no way out. And, and another thing that really got me, and I don't want to let this go by the wayside, the quote, "I want to thank our media partners and community members who chose not to publish or share the footage." The idea is she was thanking, well, first off, a Democrat, a politician calling the local media, who should be basically watchdogging these people, they're media partners. When the politicians and the media become partners, that's where society really takes a turn for the worse. We've had this for far too long when it comes to the Democrat Party and the media at this point, and this makes it even worse. Oh,
yeah,
right. And I'm hoping that Donald Trump makes this a story, because look what happened with the Trayvon Martin story. The media blew up a local story, which was an altercation that happened to result in a death.
It was bad, but yeah, it's like
it became a natural story, and they lied to the people by showing a picture of the guy when he was 12 years old. Which I would see if this was being covered by the media during the Obama or Biden era. They would show a picture of this guy. They wouldn't show this. They would show a picture of this guy being 12 years old and discussing how the system would have saved him. Or what should have saved him. But this is how the Democrats run things. They're partners, and this is the truth. She has already let the cat out of the bag. The media and the Democrat Party are partners, and they always have been. And I'm gonna go back to one more thing. I know I don't mean to monopolize and hog the time, but let's go back to that David Muir debate with the one where it's a presidential debate. Donald Trump says, which was talking about the Springfield incident. Hey, they're bad neighbors. They're causing problems. And David Muir says, well, we called the city manager of Springfield, and he told us that nothing was going on. So they took that as the word of God, because the Democrats and the media are partners. If anybody hadn't believed that, this quote from the Charlotte mayor should have proven it to everybody. The Democrats and the media are, in fact, partners. That's why they blow up certain stories and they hide others.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. You going to play something or not?
Oh, I don't have it. I read the quote. We don't need to hear from this woman, do we? And I don't. And I think.
Well, I don't like to. So I don't have my public official in North Carolina hat on right now, although I'm an elected official. I'm commenting only as private citizen Tony Shaffer, not as an official of North Carolina, although I am. So in this case, I will speak on record as Tony Shaffer, media guy, that this is not acceptable, that these people should be put in jail. That if it were up to me, that this mayor should be looked at for some level of culpability in all of this, because she and the other Democrats have created the conditions for this guy, this victim, it's not his fault he was a victim. No, maybe not, because you Democrats made him into a victim. He's your creation. Hey, remember that movie Frankenstein? I think it's their Frankenstein monster. Yeah. Or Frankenstein. Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein.
But so. It just really bothers me. And look, hey, how about that Daniel Penny story, which is just as local of a story that blew up nationally, and the media made sure that the Democrat policies looked good. And the guy who actually saved others and helped others, the Good Samaritan, looked bad. This is America today. The Good Samaritans shunned, the criminals are celebrated or hidden if it's politically expedient. That's how people like St. Floyd became a hero. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. And then we should stand.
Did you? I know that people get upset with me when I get a little bit X-rated, but did you know that George Floyd did an X-rated video?
I don't think I want to know that.
It's true. I mean, I actually had someone who is not like inclined to that at all send me the link. It's like, did you see this?
What is it? And Georgie does speedballs?
No, it's out there. I'm not going to get us in trouble any more than I normally do. Anyway, it's out there.
Yeah, I wasn't about to show a stabbing on the air either. So, that wasn't going to happen either.
Yeah, so I'm just saying they promote the worst in society because it makes them stronger.
Right.
That's why they do it. They promote. Listen to what I'm saying. They promote the worst elements of society to benefit themselves, to promote themselves, to gain power.
Right.
This is what they do.
Right.
And if anybody really thinks that the Democrats are for the people, it's like, man, oh man, just look at their history. Can I run through it real quick? Trail of Tears, the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, the KKK, Jim Crow. Remember Jim Crow? They wouldn't let blacks vote.
Yep, Jim Crow.
Did I mention the KKK? And then there's Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, who basically said, segregation, that's fine. President Woodrow Wilson, a Virginian, and then there was this guy named. No, I'm not done. Yep, we got FDR. Yes. Did you remember he rounded up the Japanese, put them in camps?
And the Italians, by the way, nobody ever remembers that. The Italians too. That's
yeah.
Right. Oh, and he's the first guy who appointed a Klansman to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, there you go. So and then we go on from there.
Margaret Sanger.
So yeah, so I want people. The Patriots are good on this, but if you can go out and just talk to one Democrat today, remind them they don't want to be Democrats.
Right.
It's like, you don't want to do this.
Well, see,
let me help you out of that.
My theory is they do, though. I believe they really believe all of this underground. They just want to show upon the surface that they care about others, but they really don't. They're very selfish people. And and I've said this about the politicians several times. Every time they push forth the law that ups crime in inner city areas, or tries to protect criminals, or pushes some kind of terrible DEI policy in schools and makes children dumber, it doesn't happen in their sheltered neighborhoods. Oh, they live in their lily white areas. They're not bothered by anything else. Heck, they'll even fight hard if you try to put their wind turbines somewhere near their property. If you remember the incident over by Martha's Vineyard. So they legislate to make themselves look better as virtue signalers, but to make everybody else live with the consequences. They never live with those consequences, ever. I know I said this a million times here, but it has to be said.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing. We need to continue to remind people over and over, the fact is that, and I was talking to, who was I talking? Oh, last night we were talking with Vinny about meritocracy. Good morning, Vinny. About the fact that, I think try to start a conversation. No, I'm not. Well, I'm trying to start a conversation. We all talk here, but go talk. It's like, go out and help a Democrat stop being a Democrat, right? Because the merit of being, there are no merits to being a Democrat, as far as I can tell. And again, if you just look at the party of who's in it, and by the way, who right now is the leadership of the Democrat Party? Chuck Schumer, Vodka Nancy Pelosi. I don't even know if Kamala Harris counts anymore, because she said she's not going to run for anything. And then the youngest member of the party, that the youngest two members are Pritzker, who is the size of Sheboygan, as we've talked about, and Gavin Newsom, who has a hair helmet that could survive the reentry from orbit. Did you know that if they used his hair, he could reorbit from space and survive? It's like a heat shield. It builds up. It's plasma. Plasma would go around it. He could actually survive. If you put a mask on him, like an oxygen mask, he could by himself survive reentry into Earth.
I'm pretty sure he was wearing another mask for a very long time, but that's another story for another day. And we have our guest, Ted Walter, coming in pretty soon. But I have a short videos for you. And
all right.
Remember the guy from last week, the jerk at the baseball game, who took the baseball out of the old man's hands? The old man's hands. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Yeah, It was not nice. It was not nice.
Well, this is worse. I was watching the footage of a Phillies Marlins game where this woman, well, let's put it this way, it was a scramble for a baseball, and there's a man who ran across. Again, the ball bounces on the ground, so it's fair game. Nobody catches it. Ball's on the ground. This guy runs across the section, grabs it, gives it to his kid. The woman who it bounced near didn't get the ball, She snoozed and lost, and she got angry about it and yelled at the guy to make sure that she got the ball back from the kid. So check this out. Watch this. The ball bounces. Nope. It's fair game. 3 people were after it. He got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He ran across the gave it to
fair
his
game.
kid.
Gives it to a kid. Gives it to a kid.
And look at her.
There's Karen.
Yep.
There's Karen. It's like, hey, Karen, get the hell out of here.
Yep.
Go drink your beer and shut up.
Yeah, just watch her run as with witch at him. There we go.
No.
And then finally, the father says, "All right, here you go."
No, I wouldn't have done that. I would not have done that. I would have not have done that. It's like, that's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous.
Now, my
and,
other
and
question,
shame on the dad for giving up the ball. I would have not done that.
Well, she got booed and later on flipped off the crowd. All right. She's so angry. And why do these angry Why do these angry women always have a Judith Butler haircut? I mean, yeah, you got her, Elizabeth Warren, Ellen DeGeneres, even Rosie O'Donnell sporting that haircut or something similar now. She's too curly for it.
Well, like Rosie O'Donnell and what's that guy from used to be on TV on MSNBC? They all look the same.
Deutsch.
Donnie Deutsch is going downhill. I've met that guy, and he's like, he's not the Donnie Deutsch I met.
Well,
no. He wears the goofy colored glasses now.
Yeah. Mark Cuban.
Keith Olbermann. No, Keith
Olbermann. Yeah.
Keith Olbermann. They're all the same.
Right.
Have you ever seen these people in the same room together? I think they're all the same person. They're all the same person.
It's a uniform. But I want to do two things. Harrison Bader, the center fielder, met with the kid, gave him an autograph bat. Good thing.
See, that's nice. That's nice. And he ought to take that bat and beat it over the head of whoever tries to steal balls from him next time. Just saying.
And before we bring in Ted, I want to give you a little bit of hope for society. This nice man went all the way across seats to get a ball, and look what he did with it.
There it is. I was rooting for the girl myself.
See, isn't that nice? See, that's nice.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. It's like, give it to the kids. Let the kids have a good time,
And you know what? It's cool to get the ball. So that's
of course.
fine. But the balls mean so much more to the kids. This is part of the kids' experience of being there. So, you know what? I'm 56 years old. When I was 12, I wanted the ball. When I was 8, I wanted the ball. But, it would be cool for me to catch the ball. But you're right. Give it to the kid nearby.
So I've mentioned before the Thurston Howell Band, and the Thurston Howell Band shoots little what do you call those things? They're like the pink with the big legs. What do you call those things? They're birds.
Oh, I thought they were
flamingos.
Flamingos.
They shoot flamingos.
Right.
Anyway, they shoot them into the crowd, and that people go wild for those too. Just saying, but that's a different story. So,
agreed. Well, let's welcome Ted.
Good morning, Ted.
And not Father Ted, by the way. As you know, the writer for the creator of Father Ted got in some serious trouble over in Britain, but we can do that one tomorrow.
Yeah. So, well, good morning, Ted. Welcome to Wake Up Patriots. We appreciate you being here. So we want to go through an event that you've asked me to speak at, and I was just texting yesterday with a couple of the other speakers, and it looks to be a good event. So, Ted, tell us about your event on the 10th, 11th, and 12th, right? It's a 3-day event, right? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I think you are. We'll work this out. I think we have a little issue with your microphone there, Ted. See, those Newberg people are stealing all your electricity.
Yeah, you and Chris are like sharing the same electricity, and I think he's sucking it up right now. Just saying.
Well, yeah. Hey, we suffer under Kathy Hochul's new legislation where she raised the electric bill, so we're all kind of conserving. I think, Ted, you might want to check out if another program has your microphone, like a Zoom or something else. You might want to close those. This way, StreamYard and come back into StreamYard. This way, StreamYard could take your microphone. But we do have your camera. For some reason, we don't have the microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to post the link to the event in 1 second here. Yeah. Hold on a second. I know I've got it here somewhere.
We'll get that going, and we'll get that. We'll talk about everything you're doing too.
Oh, here it is. I found it. I've got too many windows open on my computer. No wonder everything goes slow on my computer. Hold on a second here.
Done with.
All right, here's the. As a matter of fact, you all can attend if you want. There's the link in the chat. I just put it in the chat. If you're in DC, you could attend. and that's true. So
Right.
so anyway, so I just put it in the chat. It's the event's called "Turning the Tide: 9/11 Justice," and there it is there too. So we believe, and I was texting it with one of the other speakers, that it's long past due to have an independent review of everything that happened before 9/11, the day of 9/11, and after 9/11. So anyway, Ted, are you there? Can you hear us?
Oh no, he's on mute again.
Oh no.
Something's up there. Let's see if it's no. It's not on our end here. Something's going on.
Anyway, well, I'll keep talking about the 9/11 stuff while you guys work on that. So
yeah, all right.
Anyway,
all right, so we'll get that going.
Yeah, you guys fix that, and I'll talk. So basically, there's some really big names that are speaking at this. First off, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator. Oh,
I think we got him.
All right,
we got something.
Oh, we have audio. All right, there we go.
Fantastic.
So Ted, you don't. It's okay that you live in New York. I hope Catherine Hochul. I hope she hasn't affected you too badly, and what she does up there. So anyway, enough about Vampira. Yeah. By the way, did you know, Ted, that she actually starred in Plan 9 from Outer Space? Did you know that?
Wow. Thanks
there
for
she is.
There she is. There she is, right there. There she is in her early days.
Looks about right.
She looked a lot younger back then.
Yeah, she looked better back then. She had higher eyebrows. The eyebrows and other parts of her body have dropped. Just saying. So not that we care about that. Not that we care about that. But anyway, back, Ted, back to you. So tell us about, I was about to tell the folks about it. Let's have you, Ted, tell us about the event that we're going to all be participating in the 10th, 11th, and 12th of September this week. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for participating in it.
Sure.
Turning the Tide, 9/11 Justice in 2025. And as you said, we are long overdue for a real investigation into what happened, as you said, both before 9/11, on 9/11, and after 9/11 in terms of the cover-up of what really happened. And so this week in DC, we're bringing together something like 25 or so speakers from all different walks of life, former elected officials, one current elected official in Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, who's going to be giving a keynote address on the evening of Wednesday, September 10th. And I think that we're coming together because the push for a new investigation into 9/11 has been gaining momentum over the past couple of years in particular. And we are getting a coalescence of voices like yourself, former intelligence officials, former elected officials, as I said, former Congressman Kurt Weldon and Dennis Kucinich, which I think underlines that this is actually a nonpartisan push. This is a nonpartisan effort to bring about a new investigation. People from all parts of the political spectrum questioned what happened on 9/11. It's not a matter of ideology. And then we have, 9/11 family members, firefighters, and researchers who've dedicated their lives, or the last 10, 20 years of their lives, to studying what happened on 9/11, all coming together in DC. It's good. The first 2 days are in the evening, 5 to 10 p.m. on Wednesday, the 10th, and then Thursday, the 11th, and then an all-day session on Friday. And so chances are most of you watching, can't make it there, but we will also be live streaming the whole event on Redacted, Clayton and Natalie Morris's channel on Rumble and YouTube. And I didn't mention yet that Tucker Carlson, who has really undergone sort of a transformation on this issue in the last several years, will be joining us via live stream to start off the event on the 11th. He'll be talking to Clayton Morris about his new 5-part documentary series that is premiering that very day on the 11th. So very exciting, a lot of really powerful and somewhat new voices, and it's going to be really good. I think this might be the most important event that the 9/11 truth and justice movement has had in its existence, this 24-year existence. And I think, as I said in an interview last week, I also think this is just the beginning of what is to come. I think we are on an upward trajectory, and I'm really optimistic that we will be seeing a new investigation in the not too distant future.
Yeah. So, Ted, I appreciate the fact that you're leading this, and I'm in contact with a lot of folks, as you know, and and Senator Johnson has called for new hearings, which I've been contacted and would be part of that. Also, believe it or not, I'm in contact with the 9/11 defense team who's defending a terrorist, and I'm supposed to be a witness for them. We'll leave it at that for now. But they, by the way, they are ready to come out and talk about what they found independently. There's been people don't necessarily know this. I don't know if you know this, Ted. We can talk more about it when we're together. The Pentagon, under the Office of Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, sorry about that, my mistake, sits the 9/11 Tribunal Defense Team who defends the terrorists. And on this team, there are independent investigators who have done a completely independent, because they're, playing for the other side, just saying, and they've come to similar conclusions of what we have. And I don't want to get into it more than that. I don't want to steal their thunder, but it's very clear. And I think they're going to have a brand new perspective once they're allowed to talk, just saying. And I think we need to look forward to that. But one of the things I want to get on the record, there's been a contamination of the call for justice and accountability by the left for a long time. And I'm going to be very blunt. Have you ever heard the name Cass Sunstein?
Cass Sunstein, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He called for literally a psychological operation to penetrate the 9/11 truth movement to create conditions for the movement to not be believed. Because the idea was we're gonna muddle it so badly with insane allegations, with false information, it cannot be sustained. So I think we have all suffered through this period of disinformation. I'm being blunt. This is not political, because to your point, Dennis Kucinich has always been on the side of truth, as has Kurt Weldon. I know both men very well. I consider them close friends. But do you think we're past the ability of certain folks, and I don't consider it left or right, because both sides participated in the disinformation, both left and right. But I'm just saying, are we past that now, do you think? Can we get to the truth?
I think we're still trying to break free of it. I think we're doing a lot better. But I think those forces, if anything, might intensify as the tidal wave continues to grow. I think that, those forces are going to be working overtime to try to muddle, to try to cause division, confusion. I think we're going to see lots of people coming to this issue for the first time and not knowing where to look and who to believe.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's going to be a challenge still. It's not just going away, but I believe that we are, by and large, overcoming it. The term that Cass Sunstein used was cognitive infiltration. So
you're professional. I'm not. But you're right. That's the term he used. So yeah. But that's my point. Is like this was sophisticated. This wasn't a bunch of knuckleheads in the White House getting drunk on vodka or smoking the weed with Hunter. just saying. This was professional. This is professional grade disinformation, right? I mean, and it's been difficult to overcome.
100%. Yeah, 100%. We are trying to separate the wheat from the chaff to some extent at this conference. There will be a series of more technical and evidence-based presentations, in particular on the first day, Wednesday. And my good friend John Cole, a civil engineer, also living in Florida, on the west coast of Florida. He's put together a video that is analyzing the directed energy weapon hypothesis originally advanced by Dr. Judy Wood. Now, we don't want to, the goal here is not to increase division and tension, but really this video that he's put together, which is 40 minutes, is really intended to introduce newcomers to that alternative theory, the directed energy weapon theory of the towers being brought down with essentially direct energy. And it is not to pick fights. It is just to give his
I think there's been some confusion. The 2025 debt relief program.
Let me ask about that, because I'm all for an academic and polite discussion of everything.
Yep.
The past 9/11 truthers got into it. I know, and I watched because I spoke at events, and but I tried never to be like a person in the movement, because they were so petty. There were personalities. I saw this from as far. So it's like, we need to get past all that and just have discussions. And I'm open to academic discussions. Let me throw something out there to you. Ted. I was talking with John Huddy, one of our reporters. I work for Newsmax. And we were talking about right after 9/11, that industrial smell, that smell that permeated southern Manhattan. And it's unforgettable. Now, someone was telling me, well, Tony, that's the smell of thermite. And it's like, oh, that would make sense. So is it possible that some of this is hidden in plain sight, that we just didn't look hard enough to understand there were shenanigans going on and we just didn't want to look at them? Is that possible?
That's 100% possible. In fact, my view is that's true. It's hard. You can't go. It's hard to. I wasn't there. I was living in Greenwich Village. I was just starting out as a college student at NYU. That was like my first real day of classes. Actually, I don't remember the smell myself specifically, even though I was only a couple.
I remember it. Yeah. I remember it.
But there's no way to say, oh, that smell was caused by that, by this or that. But we do have real data on emissions from ground zero, what was being put into the air, that stuff that was recorded by the EPA or other agencies, scientists, et cetera, that shows that there were toxins being put into the air that just don't there's no explanation for it other than thermite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think this is where, to your point, let's examine everything. Let's put it all out there. And let a commission, and I'm going to say this, Ted, you and I don't know each other, but you know kind of the people I know. Kurt Weldon and I sat with John Lehman. John Lehman was a member of the 9/11 Commission. He's a Reagan guy. I'm a Reagan guy. And John told Kurt and I, and I'm going to quote, everybody on the commission was covering up for someone, unquote.
That's what it was.
I think it's true. I think it's true.
100%. That's what they were there to do. Yeah, and they all had different interests that they were covering up for. Absolutely. It was a charade. So the fact that they didn't interview you,
well, my interview was inadvertent. I mean, when I let me give a quick thing because we're discussing how we're going to use this. So I recently provided my notes. I met with Phil Zelikow and Bagram. It's one of the chapters. I don't know which chapter it is. It's one of the chapters in here. I think it's called Able Danger. Anyway, in my book, let me see. No, that's Death Star. Anyway, it's in the book. So I met with Phil Zelikow, and my notes from that meeting are still available. And I don't want to get into detail, but I basically wasn't. The 9/11 Commission didn't want to know about Able Danger, and it became abundantly clear after I briefed them, and then they wanted it to go away. And Chris Kojum of the 9/11 Discourse Project after the fact told Kurt Weldon and his staff it was, quote unquote, a road we did not want to go down. It's like, what?
Yep.
You as a commission can choose what roads with evidence you choose to go down or not. I mean,
in other words, you're not trying to understand what actually happened.
Yep. Exactly. So I was told by someone who is in the know that basically the narrative was written the first few days of the commission, and then the rest of the time it was Phil Zelikow's job to go out and pick and choose evidence to match the narrative, not get to the truth. Would you agree with that?
100%.
I'm sure you would.
Oh yes, 100%. Yep. He had his outline there from the get-go. He had the whole book written out, chapter by chapter.
Well, I want to throw this in. I was covering this story for a local station in Orange County, as a matter of fact. At the time, I was a station manager, and it winds up that you got a lot of information from basically the surface information of what was going on. But in the days following, when I started bringing people on the air and talking about some of the possibilities with this and what you guys are discussing, there was a lot of suppression of such evidence almost immediately. And this is faster than normal at that time, where the Democrat, or excuse me, not the Democrat, excuse me, the narrative out of the White House and out of the media and out of everywhere else when it came to the government was, if you don't believe what we're saying, you're a truther. If you don't believe what we're saying, then you're a conspiracy. They did this. This was by the way, this became the World Economic model after 9/11. And this is in my opinion, of course, but it seems to be they watched what was going on. They watched the instant suppression of anybody with a theory about what was happening. And like you said, the most ridiculous ones of all were the ones being presented to make everybody else look stupid, like the idea of the missile hitting the Pentagon rather than a plane. But Tony, you saw what happened there.
So I'm open to the idea of opening everything up with actual investigators, much like the 9/11. Again, I don't want to get them in trouble, but the 9/11 defense investigators, they've been kind of like allowed to fly under the radar and just do their own thing, which has been useful. I'll just leave it at that. Mm-hmm. But other folks, like during our investigation, Ted, this may surprise you, they found the chart that had Muhammad Atta on it, but you know who hit it? A guy named Jim Clapper. They found it. The investigators told me this. It's like, yeah, we found it, but it was on a top secret system at National Geospatial Intelligence Agency over with Jim Clapper, and we were told not to look at it. So the actual team that did the Able Danger investigation, oh yeah, they knew, but they were told, oh no, you must limit your findings and comments to unclassified information. So right there is a huge thing that we knew right up front. And so, if you look at just our little microcosm and you expand it out, every aspect of the 9/11 story has been essentially distorted by the powers wishing to avoid accountability. Right, Ted? I mean, it seems to me that's what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. Tony, I really look forward to meeting you in DC and talking more. One question I've had in my mind, is trying to fit together the experience that you and many other intelligence officers had of trying to track down the terrorists, the alleged hijackers, right?
Right.
And being stopped in different ways. We've got Colleen Rowley. We've got many.
Colleen and I spoke on this topic. I think it was about 12 years ago in New York. But yeah, keep going. Yeah, you're right. No,
I'm interested, and I definitely don't want to ask you to speculate at all, but I'm interested in how you think that fits in with the question of whether these alleged hijackers actually took over and actually flew the airplanes.
That's a good question, and I think it's clear that the guys, to me, were on the planes. I mean, there's pretty clear evidence they got on the planes, but what happened on some of those planes becomes like unknown because you have some audio, but you have no way of knowing what happened inside the plane. By the way, Ted, I would argue if we had today's technology in those days, there would have been at least some video of what was going on. People now have all sorts of phones. So today, it would have been way better, I think, to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
There was also the account of the Pentagon flight. I think it was 77. That one of the wives of one of the high officials was talking on the phone supposedly. So yeah, these things are all valid to be looked at about what was going on and who was involved and all that. So I can't say. I wasn't that. And so one of the things, Ted, I've tried to do, and I think others should do the same thing, I have tried to stay completely focused on what I know directly. Mm-hmm. I know what we were tasked to do as Able Danger. I know what we discovered. I know what the lawyers did to stop us. I know what options. By the way, Ted, the two things that my job on Able Danger, on our effort to go after Al-Qaeda, my two jobs are still beyond top secret, believe it or not. I have been prohibited from talking about what my actual role is. If you read the report, I'm sure you have, it's like, oh, he was just the guy out getting information. He was just a reservist. Like, oh, okay, if you want to go with that, fine. But the truth is, and this is where I'm seeking and I'm working with a number of others to get, the Department of War, just saying, to declassify the last two things. And I'm telling you, Ted, it will change the way you perceive the military's role in the 9/11 issue. It'll change it completely. And so that's why I think it's important that we actually get the information out in such a way that we don't give up capabilities. So I'm very strong on that. But to your point, Ted, I don't know enough about the other things. I'm open to the investigation to find it. But I know what I know, and I know that we were not permitted to go after the 9/11 guys that we knew were here before the attack. And I know that to be completely factual and accurate. So,
yeah, that makes sense. Well, I tend to think that given the research I've done, given the research that we're doing right now, we're conducting a flight simulator study as part of our research at the International Center for 9/11 Justice, looking at whether, in particular, the maneuvers performed by Flight 175 into the South Tower and Flight 77 could have been done by, well, any pilot for that matter, but in particular, very inexperienced pilots like the alleged hijackers were. And we've had some highly experienced pilots get into a full motion flight simulator and try to replicate those maneuvers, and at least on their first attempts, not having very much success.
Well, yeah, Ted, I think it's a great point. You fly those, and by the way, 757s, they're kind of like a sports car of commercial aviation. People love them. That's what Donald Trump has, by the way. Mm-hmm. And those things are, every pilot I've talked to they can't believe that Boeing stopped producing them because they're like just kind of like the Goldilocks jet. With that said, you're flying a jet near its top speed at 200, 300 feet above the ground. Yeah. That's not easy. So I get your point completely. So.
And I'd encourage you to also, I did a presentation last year where I spent about 6 to 9 months last year, really intensively studying the phone calls reportedly made from the planes and and putting aside the question of because actually a lot of people don't realize that these calls, there's records showing that these calls were made almost all of them via airphones, right? So this whole question of how can a cell phone work at 30,000 feet, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of beside the point. That most of them, as far as we've been told, at least, were made via airphones, and there's records at least indicating that. But I and a few other researchers have been interested in what was said in the calls. What did they tell the people that they were speaking to? And when you start to dissect all of that, and I'm just going to put, I hope this doesn't sound too far fetched, but it's really what I think the evidence shows is that they weren't reporting real events. Something was going on. There was some type of a script or talking points that whoever was making these calls was reading from. Now, this gets into area that might sound to you, Chris, as crazy as a missile hitting the Pentagon. But I feel like if you dive into the evidence with an open mind, there's a good chance that you're going to reach that conclusion.
Well, there you go.
Chris is crazy anyway, so let's not go there.
Well, hold on. That's the idea. The media, the mainstream media, and the government coupled the idea that we question what was going on. We question the narrative. They couple the legitimate questions, the thought-provoking ones, with the crazy ones, the ones that can be easily proven wrong, and they make it look like, see, well, these are the same people that are trying to push this narrative, but they're lying, and they try to credit anybody who asks them questions.
Yeah. So two things. I mean, one of the colleagues of Kurt Weldon is Louis Freeh, and Louis Freeh did an editorial. He had stepped down as director of the FBI, and a guy named Mueller was in there. Ooh, Darth Vader had become director. And Louis Freeh said that had he and the FBI received the Able Danger information, which, by the way, we were prohibited from providing the FBI because of lawyers, just saying, the Jamie Gorelick memo, and we can get into all of that when we talk. My point being is Louis Freeh said, we could have stopped the attacks if we had been given that information. I tend to believe that's true, but that's my point. I do believe people like Mueller were brought in, just saying, to make sure that the FBI could not respond, that people like Colleen Rowley would not be able to work. I would argue Pete Schoonmaker was retired from Special Operations Command, and General Holland brought in because they knew that Holland would shut down the project because he was part of the effort to stop any potential proactive response from happening. That's my belief anyway. And the one thing that I will use to illustrate this is, Ted, you said you were there. Do you remember that less than 24 hours after the attack, they already had every name and every address of the terrorists? And it's like, what? How do you do that? That was insane.
You're the intelligence guy, so you can tell right away that doesn't make sense. That's no.
I know, it's like, and I saw this, like, there's something wrong. And I get shivers thinking about it. It's like, there's something wrong here because there's no way. Plus, Ted, from dealing this bureaucracy, there's no way any federal bureaucracy would just let that all out without having done a deeper investigation and vetting. So the fact that they just put it out there, like, here's the guys. Here's the people who did it. It's like, how in the fuck do you know that?
Yep.
I mean, it was insane. So it's time to end the insanity, right, Ted? We can agree on that. It's time to end the insanity, and get to the truth.
Yes, I think so. I think as a society, I think we are just starting to come to our senses a little bit. And it's a lot of damage has been done. A lot of destruction has been wrought over the last 24 years.
Oh, and look, I gave up my career to be a whistleblower on this, not knowing that I was going to be a whistleblower. I mean, I just was told to show up and tell the truth. And next thing I know, it's like, I'm getting fired.
Yeah, you were not even blowing the whistle. You were just doing what you were to do. Yeah.
I was told to show up and talk to Kurt Wallen and go talk to people. It's like, hey, I'm just go tell them what you know. Okay, sure, it's my job. Yeah. Anyway, well, Ted, thank you for being here. Tell the folks again about the event. I put it in the chat earlier. I'll put it in there again right now.
So, Turning the Tide, you can find tickets if you still want to.
There it is.
Make it there.
I just put it in the chat. Again. So
awesome. Yeah. So if you click on that's the IC911 website, but you see the button at the top there will bring you to it, and then of course there's a poster. So there's all sorts of links to the Eventbrite page where you can buy tickets, or go to on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Go to the Redacted on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the live stream right there. It will also be archived if you're not able to watch it live. So
good. Well, Ted, we want to have you back. This is not going away, and we need to expand the knowledge of your movement and what Senator Johnson does. I think we all agree he needs to have a new hearing on this. I'd like to be permitted to talk about everything. I was shut down, even in Ted. I was in closed hearings at the top secret level, and I had the staff director of the Armed Services Committee waving at me when I got certain questions, saying you can't talk about that. Yeah, and this is the top secret. So I'm just telling you, we need to get everything out that we can, and let the people decide what the truth is based on facts.
I just want to say I was when we wanted to make the announcement that you were going to be speaking at the conference, I looking around for an image of you to put in the bulletin, and I went to the C-SPAN video of you testifying in front of Kurt Weldon and in front of Dennis Kucinich, and I'm just seeing all these faces, all you guys 20 years younger, and just I was like, oh great, we're getting them all together again, and here we are 20 years later, we're finally getting there, at least getting a little bit closer. So
Ted, well, thank you for your courage and your leadership on this. We deeply appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you. And I'm only going to be able to be there Thursday. I will try to make some time on Friday as well, because you're doing things on the 12th too, right?
Yeah. It's all 3 days. Great presentations, and Ron Johnson speaking on Wednesday night. But understand if you can't make it.
Yeah, so I'll be there. I got to be there. I'll be there definitely Thursday. This is news to you too. So I'll be there Thursday. I can make it out a little bit on the 12th, but I gotta work. I got to do some work for my company Newsmax, but I will be there. So Ted, thank you.
It's a safe for Washington D.C. too, by the way.
Yeah,
being a safe for Washington. Now, this is why it's not in Newburgh, by the way, because you guys are afraid you're going to get mugged over there, huh?
Washington is it's a more central spot.
It is. All right, Ted, thank you. We'll have you back, and thank you for being here. Patriots, thanks for being here today and paying attention to this. This is very important. We're going to have more on this as we go. Our friends in the media, people that we like, are going to be trying to push this out. My friend Catherine Herridge is doing something on 9/11. I just talked to her this morning. She's pushing something out soon. And I know that our friend Tucker Carlson is going to be on top of this. We're hoping that he'll be the guy to break a lot of the new news we're talking about too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, it's it for today. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Chris, by the way, I got to be at a meeting tomorrow morning, so you're gonna have to do solo for at least first half hour. So
I can do that. I can do it with my eyes. No, just kidding. Well, we'll be there. It'll be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, also, Ruthie Bloom is going to join us. So we're going to talk about what's going on.
Ruthie's great.
Yep. And I know I've said this a million times, but it's escalating again in the Middle East. Surprise, surprise, surprise. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow.
And the end of Hamas, hopefully.
let's see. Of course, there'll be. Well, we can talk about all that. So, thank you for being with us.
We'll see you tomorrow morning.